Hayman from Parent9 Plus and welcome to Got a Teenager TV. I'm here with Suzie Hayman, parenting expert. Welcome, Suzie.
Thank you, Nick. Hi. Yes, I'm Suzie Hayman. I'm an agony aunt and a trustee of Parent9.
We've been looking at our message board, Suzie, and obviously the calls that we get to our Parent9. Is it your impression that more parents are coming forward talking about their teenagers, wanting to talk to them about their sexuality?
Absolutely, certainly. Gender, whether it's gender confusion or wanting to talk about their orientation, is certainly an issue that I've been noticing, and I get letters as an agony aunt about it. And I think one of the typical ones might be from a mother who says either that their teenager has talked to them directly, has actually said they think they're gay, or that there's something that they sort of dropped hints in the conversation. And the mother may be writing, being really worried about this, saying, my husband will go off the deep end, can't possibly tell him, he'll be furious. And surely it's just a phase.
Right. So as a parent, how would you know if it is just a phase, something they're going through at the moment, or whether it is they are gay?
Well, in a sense, you won't. They will. And I think it really is it's about listening to the young person. I do have to say that certainly from many of the letters I've had over the years from young people coming out, from talking to adults who have come out, looking back at their childhood, I think the idea of any sort of gender confusion being just a phase, just a teenage phase, is a bit of a mistake. That I think that we have a bit of almost a myth about this, and we look back to our own teenage years. And yes, it's absolutely normal for teenagers to look around, to be curious, perhaps to be not exactly certain. But actually, most gay people will say that they first realised that they were gay pre-secondary school.
Right.
You're actually talking about something that begins to become concrete, begins to sort of come together as a realisation. 9, 10, 11, that sort of age. And by the time you're a teenager, you know if you're gay or not. Of course, there is a continuum. I think it's a bit of a mistake to think people are either wholly heterosexual or wholly gay. A lot of people are sort of a bit on the line. You can be bisexual, you can be, more gay, more heterosexual, whatever. So it's not a concrete once and forever and for all. But I still do think that it's not about going through a phase that is only about teenagers. I think a lot of people, young people who will say, Mum, Dad, I'm gay, they know what they're talking about. And it's not something you can talk them out of or argue them out of. You can't argue somebody from being heterosexual to gay. You can't argue somebody from being gay to heterosexual.
So if your teenagers had that conversation with you, where do you go to support them, to support yourself?
Indeed. I mean, there's a very good organisation actually called FLAG, which is for friends and family of people who are wanting to come out or have come out. And I think we have to recognise it is a shock. If you have, after all, every parent has dreams and wishes for their child, and they almost have a fantasy. You have a picture of what's going to be in the future. And if a child comes to you and says, I'm gay, an awful lot of those dreams seem to go out the window. You might say, well, that means I'm never going to be the mother of the bride or the groom. I'm never going to have children as grandchildren. There seems to be so many things that will be stopped by that announcement. Of course, nowadays, well, that's not true at all. We've changed the law recently that, in fact, they don't call it marriage, but there's civil partnerships which are marriage in all but. And let's face it, a lot of people who are gay will have children of their own or will adopt children, so you can be a grandparent even if your child is gay. So there's a lot of things that used to be felt to be ended, taken away from you, that you may mourn and feel a loss about, which are actually no longer true. But I think it is still a shock, because you're talking about your image of yourself as well as your image of your child. And I think it's really important to talk to other people, particularly talk to people who've been there as well. So certainly come on our boards, come and talk to us, come and talk to the other people who are part of the Parent9 Plus community, and you'll find that you're not alone. But I think also you may, when you get over the shock, the initial having to face up to the fact that your fantasy is not going the way you thought it would, you'll actually start realising, same difference. It's still your child, still the person you love, and they have just as much of the future as they ever did. It just might be slightly different.